So then from there, how do we become a better communicator? Well, number one, like I said, learn to listen well. Okay. Become an active listener. When someone's talking, listen to what they're saying. Don't just be waiting to say what you want to say over the top of them. Yeah. It's like they're talking about their story and you're just sitting there biting at the chops, just trying to get your time to talk so you can say your piece, right? No, actively listen and ask clarifying questions. For instance, if they're talking about this new car they bought, great. What kind of car was it? Oh, it was an Alfa Romeo. Awesome. Which model and why did you go for that? What was it about that? Show them that you're interested. Okay, this is the number one step to communicate and also connect with people on a deeper level. Number two, what's up, legends? Welcome to another episode of the Interchange podcast, and I am going to put my chair up. Hang on. There you go. What's going on, guys? Hope you've all had an amazing week. And today I am going to be touching on communication and becoming an effective communicator, which is such an important thing for us as a human species. But before we do that, I'm going to cough. And then I'm going to give you a little bit of the lowdown on how to help me to grow this podcast. So, as you know, with podcasts and platforms like this, the way that we get our growth and the way that we get more people to be able to watch this and obviously have a bigger impact in the world is by having more subscribers and bringing on bigger and better guests. So, if you haven't already, please go and hit that subscribe button for me. It literally takes 2 seconds of your time. If you hate it, that's fine. Stop listening now. That's all good as well. You don't need to be a subscriber. But if you're enjoying it, please give me a subscribe and share this with just one of your friends, because I know there's at least one person that you know that you think might benefit from this podcast. And in turn, we can grow the platform and bring you bigger and better guests and more value. Very simple. Look at that quick math we just did there. Anyways, speaking of quick math, so they say that 7% of our communication is verbal or spoken words or words in general. Now that leaves the rest up to body language and tonality. And this is where I feel that as a society, we are really falling short, especially since COVID. Why do I say that? Well, look at how many people now don't even have to go into the office and actually interact with other human beings. For some people, that's a breath of fresh air. It's a dream come true. But for me, I'm someone that needs connection. And the thing is, we actually all need connection. It's one of the basic human needs. So Tony Robbins speaks about the 6 basic human needs, which are connection, variety, certainty, love and connection, significance, contribution, and growth. And with love and connection being one of our highest basic human needs, it's no wonder that there's so many people that are out there feeling lost, and that we have the society or the generation after us that are coming up really struggling to communicate because it's all done through these bloody things. The mobile phones are ruining it. Now, I did a previous episode on perception and being able to see things from everyone's point of view. And I think this is another important part of communication. But another big part of communication that I feel like they don't teach enough of, they jam down our throat, but they don't teach us actually how to do it, is listening. And I think that ties nicely into the previous episode I did around being able to see other people's perspectives. Because if you listen, you hear what other people are saying, and you then see maybe where they're coming from with their argument or with their point of view or with their standing point for whatever it is they're trying to communicate about. So I actually do a big module on communication in the course that I teach for men and women, because I feel like it's definitely something that we're neglecting and something that we've been lacking for a very long time. Because like I said, 7% of words, 7% of communication is the words that we speak and say and text. And these days, most people would rather jump on, send a text, than actually have a verbal conversation with someone. And this is why there's so many arguments that take place. There's so many things that get taken the wrong way. There's so many points of view that get misled or taken away from. So get out there, have a conversation. It's something that we don't practice enough. But the big part of this as well, like I said, is listening and actually being an active listener, being an effective listener in these situations. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself as a communicator? So 1 is I'm shit, when it comes to communication, I argue, I have to shout at people to get my point across, and I really feel like I don't get heard still. 10 is I should be a fucking hostage negotiator. The FBI should hire me to negotiate for them on behalf of these poor people that have a gun to their head. That's how good I am at communication. So ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rate yourself currently? And even better, here's a little thing that I do with my clients as well. Go and ask the people closest to you, the people that you know that know you best, to not hold back and be as open and honest and vulnerable and authentic as they can with their answers, but ask them, hey, how would you rate me as a communicator? How do you rate my communication? Do you feel like I'm a good communicator, or do you feel there's a lot of work to do there? Excuse me for a cough. Hey, hello. Sorry for interrupting your podcast, but I just wanted to quickly jump on and tell you about the must-have personal development tool for 2023, and it's called the Happier, Healthier You Journal. So I'll take you back to about 6 years ago. I'd just gotten out of jail for the last time and was starting my journey of personal development and growth. There was heaps of gurus, heaps of information available, but so much so that it became confusing. So I came up with the Happier, Healthier You Journal to help you to navigate what can be an absolute minefield. From the very get-go, you open the page and it'll challenge you to dive deep with self-assessments, daily activities, and check-ins to figure out exactly where you're at, where you'd like to be. And then from there, the journal becomes the tool to help you to bridge that gap. So to get your hands on this, click on the link below and don't forget to use Intochange 10 at checkout for a cheeky 10% off. I'll see you back over on the episode and see what they say. Now, first of all, obviously you do your 1 to 10, see where you rate yourself. Ask them the same thing and give them some parameters for it. Like, okay, so number 1, you're a fucking trash communicator. You can't communicate for shit. You have to shout. We always get in arguments. And that's the only way you know how to get your point across. Or number 10, yeah, man, you could be a hostage negotiator. That's the scale. So where would they rate you? And let them be open and honest about it, and don't get upset. Take that as feedback, because a lot of the time other people will see things that you don't necessarily see, or that you don't necessarily want to see, that you're hiding from yourself. So then from there, how do we become a better communicator? Well, number 1, like I said, learn to listen well. Okay, become an active listener. When someone's talking, listen to what they're saying. Don't just be waiting to say what you want to say over the top of them. Yeah, it's like they're talking about their story and you're just sitting there biting at the chops, just trying to get your time to talk so you can say your piece, right? No, actively listen and ask clarifying questions. For instance, if they're talking about this new car they bought, great. What kind of car was it? Oh, it was an Alfa Romeo. Awesome. Which model and why did you go for that? What was it about that? Show them that you're interested. Okay, this is the number 1 step to communicate and also connect with people on a deeper level. Number 2, body language. Are you slumped in your chair when you're having a conversation with someone? Are you looking like you're uninterested? Are you looking off in space? Are you looking behind them? Are you making eye contact with the people you're talking to? This is another great way to connect with people really, really quickly, is to, number 1, mimic their body language, but number 2, have open body language and show that you're ready to receive. Be hanging off their every word. Make eye contact with them. Don't worry about the chaos that's going out and around in the world around you, going on, I should say. Just be with them. Be present. That's a huge one. Be present with their conversation. Okay, and then next is tonality. If you're interested in what they're saying, encourage them to go on by going, oh, that's fucking awesome. Tell me more about that. Rather than, yeah, that's pretty cool. Can you see how that there might either help someone to continue with their story and keep going deeper and deeper into it, or shut them down and make them close off? And the other thing as well that I think is really important is knowing the intention behind the conversation before you go into it. And that's the thing that people don't understand, is that every single interaction with another human being has a desired outcome and a desired intention. So what is it that you're trying to get out of this communication? Are you trying to get to know the person? Are you trying to sleep with the person? Are you trying to extract information from the person? Are you just trying to get your basic human needs for connection met? What is the mission or the objective behind this outcome, or behind this conversation? What is the objective behind it? Figure that out before you have the conversation. Another thing as well is don't overthink it. Don't overthink the conversation. Say what you need to say. Be open, be honest, be authentic. Don't try and be someone that you are not, because people will pick up on the energy. Um, Energy introduces us before we enter the room. And so this is where a lot of people are falling short as well, is that, well, since COVID, everyone's working online. We're not actually getting that human connection. So we've forgotten how to communicate. So I am setting a goal for every single one of you people listening to this podcast today to try and talk to 2 new people per day, okay? 2 new people, even if it's just at the shopping center, you're talking to the checkout chick, asking her how her day was, what got her into this line of work, is she studying, whatever it might be. Um, Whether it's the guy behind the counter at the service station. If there's 30,000 people behind you, maybe don't. Or even at the gym. Hey, man, do you mind if I use that machine after you? By the way, what is it you're training for? I love that you're doing X, Y, and Z. That's really cool. What got you into training? How long have you been training for? Have a conversation with people. Connect with people. Whatever it might be, whatever it looks like, but try and have that conversation. And no, that doesn't mean jumping on Instagram and messaging 2 new girls or 2 new guys and liking 16 of their photos and then waiting for them to message you either. That's not how we connect with people. That's shit. That is dog shit. Get rid of that. Fuck it off. Be gone. Connect with people on a deeper level. I mean, even if you want to connect with people on Instagram, go through their profile, see something that you have in common and be like, hey man, I was going through your profile. Sorry, I was stalking a little bit actually. But I love that you're into X, Y, and Z rather than just doing 16 photos and hoping for the best. Yeah, it works out sometimes, and I guess it's a numbers game if you're doing that. But yeah, I fucking think it's kind of weird. And I'm sure that a lot of people think it's weird too, unless they're super interested in you and really, really, really like what they see. But yeah, go and try and connect with more people on a more uh, physical level, like an actual physical connection. Speak to them, talk to them, see them in the flesh. Yeah. It's a dying art. It's something that a lot of people don't know how to do, and it's sort of something that a lot of people are lacking in, is that communication. So a great way to practice it is just throw yourself in the deep end and go and talk to people. Go to a run club, talk to new people. Go to the shops, talk to new people. You know, whatever it might be, wherever you are, try and spark up a conversation with someone in the line. What's the worst that could happen? Yeah, they might look at you weird, but cool. You know, that's on them, not you. And it just really says more about them than it does about you yourself. So yeah, that's all I want to say with this one, is just to really look at how you are with communication, because it is such an important skill for everyone. Everyone in every line of work, in every area of their life, communication is something we need to be able to do on a better, to a higher degree. And something that I really wanted to highlight here as well is a technique called dialoguing. So this sort of ties back to the last episode I did about um, perspective, right? And being able to understand people's perspective, because with communication, I think there was a saying I heard, and it really outlines this perfectly. It's seek to understand before seeking to be understood. People don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care, right? Very cliche, but so true. Show that you're interested in people. Show that you are actually taking an interest in them and not just out for your own agendas. And your communication and your relationships and your connection with other people will fucking skyrocket. It will skyrocket. It's simple as that. And how do you get better at these things? By doing them, by going and having communication, having conversations and doing that sort of stuff. So with the communication piece there, dialoguing I was talking about. So let's just say you're in an argument with someone. It's like, rah, 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 you did this, you did that. You made me feel this way, something, 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 so, and so on and so forth, right? Whatever it might be. Can you see how this is not effective communication? So there might be, I'll use an example, right? You might have wanted to go out on the weekend with your mates and your missus is blowing up and it just ends up in a conversation, something along these lines. Yeah, but you always go out with your mates and you leave me here alone and I feel so fucking lonely and rah, rah, rah. And all you hear is you do this, you do that, blah, 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 blah. And you can see why that doesn't effectively work. So a better way to communicate with that is something called dialoguing, right? So let's just say that you have this same conversation with your partner and it's going to go something like this instead. So on the weekend, I know it wasn't your intention, but when I wanted to go out with my mates and you told me that I couldn't, it made me feel like this. And once again, I know it wasn't your intention to make me feel like that, but that's how I felt about it. And if the other person is somewhat emotionally intelligent, they might respond to something a little bit like this. Okay, yeah, cool. I can see why that might have happened. And that wasn't my intention either. And I hate that we had that argument. But because I'm new to town and I haven't got heaps of mates, when I see you going out with your mates and spending time with them, it actually upsets me because I miss my friends. Do you think that we could spend more time together? Okay, can you see how those are two the same conversation, but two completely different ways of handling it? So, learning to communicate and see other people's perspectives, number one. Learning to listen more effectively, number two, or even number one, right? But seeing things from other people's perspective, listening more effectively, using appropriate tonality and body language, and also understanding the goal or the objective of the conversation. These are four things that you can do to start to have more authentic and more in-depth conversations, but also have deeper connection with the people that you're trying to connect with. So give it a crack, see how it goes. And like I said, this is actually something that's a very small part of a big course that I do with the men and women that I work with. So if that's something you'd like to explore further, communication side of things and learning to effectively communicate on a deeper level, and being more authentic and vulnerable, then let's have a chat. I'd love to have a chat with you about that. I don't just work with ex-addicts. I work with men and women who are struggling with anything, whether it be insecurities, triggers, traumas, not feeling fulfillment in life, feeling lost. Addiction is a big part of it as well. But remember, addiction isn't just drugs and alcohol. This is porn. This is, being promiscuous. So whether it be sleeping with lots of men, sleeping with lots of women, and feeling empty, gambling, buying things to make yourself feel better. But really, when it comes down to it, all of these things come back to a lack of self-worth. So, I mean, if I had to put a label on what I actually do as a coach, it's habits and self-worth coaching. If that's something that aligns with you or something that resonates with you, then reach out. I'm actually taking on clients for the new year at the moment. I do have 3 spots for women, 3 spots for men available at the moment. So feel free to reach out anytime. I'd love to have a chat to you about that and hopefully look at working with a few of you guys in the future. Peace.